First time voter. Akakongo kala. Sente wa fimamu sokuwero sinto atukala kaseti sanje mutano. Munana. Jebale. Akotinzo kuita mbaka ya okutala wa local government kuba elsibai so kuba mukwa bagenda kula kwa nakulwaliro kina maso akachina kibindi ngenda yokola ogwako okusobola okulaba nga begennenya bakalonda bameka because police simani balala kwa abalon they are 400
Nalonga tafunyika.
Box. Ali ya wawa. Ali ya wawa.
Ko kulaga nti mu butuufu maze okulonda bakasanti kakuba so mu kiseera kino kitugeramu okubeera nti tugenda tekeramuko meya
We are witnessing the events as they unfold. The process is still in its infancy. The day is still young. We are yet to, to tell what is going to happen in the course of the day. But so far what we have observed, there is very low turnout, extremely low. As we speak right now, it's coming to 11. And I've cross-checked with the records here. There are only 37 voters who have cast their votes here at the polling station. Of course, we have 3 polling stations here. It's a polling center. But the particular one where I vote from, 37 out of 479 registered voters. That is at that particular polling station. I've told you there are others. There's another one with 560 and another one and so many others. But the particular one where I have voted from, only 37 by 11 out of 479. That tells you the picture of what is happening. Low voter turnout, which of course you can attribute to voter apathy, public despondence, and frustration. Many people are disillusioned with the electoral processes, considering what happened during the presidential election, the brutality that graced the whole exercise, the mayhem which is still going on as we speak today, the violence, and many people being harassed, people on tenterhooks, they're on tension. So it's a situation which is really very, very unpalatable and not at all conducive with the civic exercise of this nature. And of course also the issue of the faulty machines, the BVV kits. They also, of course, as they accounted for the low voter turnout during the presidential election. And today they have totally abandoned them with no explanation, because we thought if there was a problem at that time, a week down the road, they ought to have fixed it if it was temporary. But it would appear they are not bothered at all. And this is the neglect of duty on the part of the Electoral Commission, because they ought to have explained to the nation what went wrong with the BVV kits. What really went wrong? Was it the software? Was it the hardware? And the measures they were taking to fix the problems, and the assurance they would give us that by the time we come to cast our votes today, a week after that debacle, probably the problem would be fixed. But here we are. They are still using a manual register. And you've noticed one thing. One of the purposes, actually the key purpose, the primary purpose of the BVVK machines was to authenticate ballot papers, to establish indeed that these ballot papers are authentic, to scan them and authenticate them. Now, ask yourself, with the use of this manual voters register, how have they authenticated my ballot paper? They just plucked it out of the ballot book, gave it to me, cast it, and that is all. So I can't tell whether it is authentic or not, because that was the purpose of the BVV machine. So that's where we are. Personally, I've endeavored to ask them, but with no response at all, as to why there are no machines. First of all, I started with the issue whether they would be operational today, given the tragedy we suffered during the presidential elections up to now. And indeed, even if I had not asked, they owe the nation a duty to explain to us. So for this particular polling station, they are not. And they were cagey on whether actually they would use the machines or not. They were not so categorical. And they were actually ambivalent, if I may borrow that word. They were just ambivalent on this to fudge around and say probably where they are functional, they will use them, where they are not, and so on. So you cannot operate an election like that. The use of BVVK is a statutory command. Mao, as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, assured the nation that this is an integral part of the electoral process and it is mandatory. So if the law commands that, please do A, B, C, D, you can't do X, Y, Z. And this is where we are. So we shall demand for an explanation from the EC. We continue to demand to explain to us, to the nation, why the BVVK machines are not operational after injecting colossal sums of taxpayers' money. Second, the conspiracy theories which we find now credible, that the machines are operational, they are not fault at all. It is deliberate to declare them dysfunctional. They don't want to use them because they fear accountability. And that is one reason they don't want them used today. So as far as regards the issue of the voter turnout, in regards to the history of the electoral processes in this country, of course it has been the tradition. After the presidential elections, the hype is high. And naturally, one would understand, because the stakes at the presidential level are high compared to local governments. It's only natural that one would expect the voter turnout to vary, to be high at the presidential election and relatively low when it comes to local government elections. But unfortunately, this time around, we are making a record of the lowest voter turnout I have witnessed all my life, ever since I started participating in electoral processes, not as a candidate, but even as a voter, because I didn't start as a candidate. This is the lowest so far, unless something happens along the way. I don't want to be judgmental. Maybe a miracle may happen. But halfway the process, because if we are coming to 11 and the polling is supposed to end at 4, and you have not gotten even 30% of the voters turning up, I doubt that a miracle can happen, that within the remaining 5 hours, people are going to swarm the polling stations and cast votes. So this is going to be the lowest. It's going to be a record low turnout in the history of electoral processes in this country. There is a statement the Honorable Norbert Mao made, and we need to reflect on it critically. He did say transition in this country will not be ushered in through electoral processes. He said they will discuss the transition in rooms which matter. That was a very serious statement, indicating that the sovereign authority to determine who governs this country, how they should be governed, and to facilitate a transition in this country does not reside within the people. That's what Mao meant, that actually power lies elsewhere to determine the transition of this country. That this is just a perfunctory process, a matter of a ritual. Just go to elections, but nothing much will change. I'm speaking holistically, generally, not about local governments, but elections determining who should be governed and actually changing the political course of this country. So what is happening right now, and of course with the violence that has graced or marred the elections recently, and the tension that has been created, the mayhem we are witnessing, which explained the voter apathy and the despondence, this country is headed for the worst. I'm worried, God forbid, that we may be having our last days of elections in this country. People are likely to lose confidence and trust in electoral processes, and you may have an election coming in the future where people will say, to hell with elections. Because right now, you can tell from the mood in the country, there is a lot of voter fatigue. Even the kind of fabrication of results. You've had people where results have been changed at the 11th hour. At the polling station, they announce particular results, but when they go to the tally center, it's a totally different story. These have all explained the voter apathy we are witnessing today.